You know that feeling when you're lying in bed at 3 a.m. and your brain just won't shut up, like it's wide awake running a marathon while you're just trying to sleep. You're overanalyzing that one weird thing a coworker said 3 days ago. You're trying to decode if there's some cosmic hidden message in that strange coincidence from lunch. And the more you dig, the more confused you get, right? The harder you try to make it make sense, the less sense it actually makes. I spent years stuck in that loop, but today I'm going to tell you what happened when I finally just stopped. And fair warning, what you're about to hear might actually change the way you wake up tomorrow morning. Let me tell you about Marina. She was one of those people I admired from a distance. You know, the type. Always seemed to have it all figured out. Super chill, totally present. We eventually grabbed coffee one day, and me being me, I started doing my thing, analyzing every word she said, every pause, every look, trying to figure out what was really going on behind the scenes. Then she hits me with a question that completely caught me off guard. She asked, "Why are you working so hard to turn a simple conversation into a complex puzzle?" And I had nothing, because that was exactly what I was doing, not just with her, but with literally everything in my life. The truth is, we live in a culture that is straight up obsessed with meaning. Everything has to have a greater purpose, right? A deep lesson, a secret sign from the universe. You go through a breakup and immediately start asking, what is the universe trying to teach me? You don't get the job and spend 6 hours wondering what the grand master plan is. You have a bad day and you're like, what does this symbolize about my soul's journey? Look, reflection is great, but there's a massive difference between reflecting and getting trapped in an infinite loading screen of searching for meaning. Check this out. There's this fascinating study from the University of Virginia. They put people alone in an empty room for 15 minutes. The only thing they could do was think. No phones, no books, nothing. Want to guess what happened? Most of the people, actually a huge majority, preferred giving themselves actual electric shocks rather than just sitting there doing nothing. Let that sink in for a second. People literally chose physical pain over just being alone with their thoughts without a task, a problem to solve, or a meaning to hunt down. And here's the kicker. Maybe the problem isn't a lack of meaning. Maybe the problem is our compulsive need to find it in everything. Stick with me because there's a twist coming that you're not going to see coming. Think about it. When was the last time you just observed something without trying to get it? When was the last time you lived a moment without immediately trying to extract a life? Decode a lesson mar teep from it. We've become so addicted to seeking sense that we've forgotten how to just exist. And that's the big paradox. The more you hunt for meaning, the less you actually live. Back to Marina. After that coffee chat, I couldn't stop thinking about her question. And I realized something pretty disturbing. I was so busy trying to find the deep meaning in every interaction that I wasn't actually present for any of them. It was like I was watching my own life through a microscope, looking for patterns and codes, while the actual party was happening right in front of me and I was missing it. Now you might be thinking, but wait, if I don't look for meaning, isn't life just empty? Well, the answer is actually the exact opposite. But before I get to that, you need to understand what's happening in your brain. There's this thing called the default mode network. It's basically that narrator in your head that never shuts up. It's always commenting, always analyzing, always connecting the dots. The problem is when that network is hyperactive, you can't experience anything directly. You're always one step removed. It's like trying to enjoy a steak while reading a textbook about how taste buds work. You might have all the knowledge, but you aren't actually tasting the food. Harvard researchers did a study on happiness and found something wild. They found that people are happiest when they're completely present in what they're doing, no matter what it is, compared to when they're doing something fun, but their mind is wandering. Read that again. You are literally happier washing dishes while actually focusing on the dishes than you are eating your favorite ice cream while your mind is obsessing over a text message from 3 days ago. So I decided to run an experiment. For 1 whole week, I was going to stop. No more seeking meaning, no analyzing, no whys, no looking for hidden lessons, just living, just watching. And man, those first few days, they sucked. My brain was panicking. It was like I'd turned off an engine that had been running for 20 years. Every time something happened, my brain would automatically jump into analysis mode, and I'd have to manually drag my attention back to the moment. But then on day 3, something weird happened. I was walking to work, a route I've taken 1,000 times, and suddenly I saw the street. Like, really saw it. The colors, the textures, the way the light hit the bricks. It wasn't that I hadn't seen it before, but I'd never experienced it. I was always too busy thinking about my 9 a.m. meeting or analyzing my past mistakes. In that moment, without looking for a sign, I felt a connection to life that I'd never felt before. Here's the plot twist. When you stop obsessively searching for meaning, you don't find a void. You find the direct experience of life. And that experience, without all the filters and interpretations, has its own kind of meaning, a meaning that doesn't need to be hunted because it's already there. Think about a baby. A baby isn't trying to find the symbolism of a sunset. They just look at it totally blown away. They aren't thinking about how this fits into their personal narrative. They're just there, alive. In Zen philosophy, they call this beginner's mind. It's about approaching every second as if it's the first time you've ever seen it. It's not about being dumb or naive. It's about being open to what is without needing to turn it into something else. Let's get practical. Say someone sends you a short, dry text. Fine. The meaning seeker, you goes into a tailspin. What did they mean? Why that tone? Are they mad? Did I mess up? You're creating a whole Netflix drama in your head. But the present you just read the text, notice the person sent it, and move on with your day. No story, no drama, and ironically, that keeps you way more connected to reality than the person who spent 2 hours analyzing it. A few months later, I saw Marina again. I told her about my experiment. She gave me that smile. You know, the one people give when they recognize a universal truth. She told me she used to be just like me until she realized she was living entirely in her head, totally disconnected from the actual world. She said something I'll never forget. When you stop searching for meaning, you don't lose purpose. You find freedom. Freedom to see things as they are, not as you need them to be to fit your story. Now, I'm not saying you'll never think about your life again. Of course you will, but you won't be a slave to it. You'll choose when to analyze and when to just be. The philosopher Alan Watts used to say that trying to understand life through constant analysis is like trying to eat soup with a fork. You can work really hard at it. You can get really good at using that fork, but you're just using the wrong tool for the job. Think about the most meaningful moments of your life. Were you searching for meaning then? Probably not. You were probably just there. That sunset that took your breath away. That deep conversation where time disappeared. Those moments happened because you stopped looking and just showed up. So what happens when you quit the hunt? Mental space. It's like closing 50 tabs in your brain's browser. Suddenly, you have all this energy to actually enjoy what's happening. Better relationships. You stop decoding people and start seeing them. Less suffering. Most of our pain doesn't come from what happens. It comes from the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. That dry text doesn't hurt you. The story that they don't love me anymore is what hurts you. Life isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's an experience to be had. You don't need to be a detective in your own life. You can just be the main character. So, here's my challenge for you. Over the next few days, just notice how often you're digging for hidden meaning. When you catch yourself doing it, don't judge yourself. Just stop. Bring your attention back to what's right in front of you. What do you see? What do you hear? You might be surprised to find that everything you were looking for was already here. You just had to stop looking long enough to notice it.